Well, I'm here with Miss Mickalene Thomas. Mickalene, it's an honor to have you here. My name is Aryana. I'm with the Teen Arts Council.
And my name is Isaac Davenport, and I'm also with the Teen Arts Council.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So, I was wondering, with all the different types of artistic media that you could use, why do you choose to use sequins and enamel?
But I choose rhinestones mainly because I like the effect of sort of pointillism. I started as an abstract painter, and so that was one of the closest sort of materials that I could use to have that effect. It adds sort of another element because it's a way of, dressing up. There's a whole sort of indication and symbolism that sort of reference the rhinestones and how they're used culturally and socially, indicating or amplifying sort of notions of beauty. So that's why I decided to use them.
When in your work in this gallery and also in the film, do you have like the message geared to a specific audience?
I think it's geared to everyone. I think, I'm a woman, I'm an African-American woman, and I think it's, for me, my message is really about claiming, not reclaiming a space, but claiming a space that doesn't necessarily exist. Putting my images in the same room or aligned with like a Manet or Monet, because I want my work to have the same dialogue or discourse. That's very important for me, to have these women be viewed in the same notion as Mona Lisa. I'm hoping that the audience is expansive, that it's that anyone can see themselves in the image, not necessarily geared towards African American women, that everyone who sort of approach the image, that they can find something in the image that they can relate to.
So the rhinestones that you said you use, how do you apply those? Because I noticed that the way you use them as in shading and kind of to define that. How do you apply that?
We glue the area down first, and then one by one with a chopstick. We sort of like put a little glue on the end of the chopstick just so it has a little tack to it, and it allows us to pick it up, and then we place it on the surface one by one. I used to use my fingers, which was actually quite laborious, but many times, a lot of these paintings are done with me by myself and my finger just sitting. I think that's why my eyesight is bad.
And how do you, what do you do to show the relationship between your subjects and the background?
I think the relationships for me, it's just through collage. After I photograph the individual, the model, or my subject, I think how I compose the image. And that comes from recomposing the image by collaging the image. I'm really interested in sort of playing with a depth of field, playing with a flat space with a perspectile space. For me, it's not about being a figurative painter, but more about representational images.
You were saying earlier during the film, actually, that you began using rhinestones because someone else was using glitter when you were using it.
Yeah.
What made you pick up rhinestones as such a painstaking process?
It's not painstaking, it's fun. It's more laborious than and time-consuming and methodical than painstaking. But I was always working in non-traditional materials, even as an undergrad student. I was really sort of the kind of artist that gravitated towards more craft materials. I would use felt, just newspaper, anything. I was really interested in assemblage art and collage art. So for me, the craft store was like my art supply store.
So nowadays, where does your inspiration come from?
A lot of my newer work has come from my travels. I think traveling plays a big part in sort of a creative process. I've been very fortunate that my work has taken me places that I've probably otherwise wouldn't go, Through traveling, I discovered new types of landscape, and I look at myself and I look to see what's happening in my life, in my environment, and how I can pull out of that to make something creative out of it.
What originally influenced you to become an artist?
That's a good question. I like that question. Because I wanted to be a lawyer, and it took a long time for me to decide and discover what I wanted to do. And that came about me taking this art therapy course where I created a lot of works. And then through my friends who were artists, they was like, you know, you should really think about going to art school. It wasn't something I thought about. I was 25 at the time, and shifting my careers was a huge thing for me, deciding that I'm not going to be a lawyer, but I'm going to be an artist. Sort of different ways of life, you know.
So you said that it was kind of uncertain. Was there any mentor or someone there for you to help you charter those uncertain waters?
That's a great question, because there were. While I was living in the Northwest, I saw an amazing show by an artist named Carrie Mae Weems, and she's a photographer, African-American woman. And while I was living in the Northwest, it was probably one of the most formidable experiences for me, because it was the first time that I saw works on that level in a museum of a contemporary African-American artist. And it was a woman. And it was these fantastic photographs of images that reminded me of my own life. There were images of families sitting at tables, husband and wife and daughter. And so that really sort of made me feel like, wow, you can really, art is not necessarily about a painted picture. It's about all of these other elements. And that sort of resonated with me very deeply. But yeah, she's still one of my mentors, and she's still working today. And then she's about to have a show at the Guggenheim Museum. So it's really fantastic to have these individuals in the art world that you can look up to and also reach out to, pick up the phone and just check in with them. But she's been one of those people that I respected highly, and I look at her life as an artist. I look at her trajectory and how she navigates through the art world and her own practice, and sort of want to model myself after that. So.
Well, it was truly an honor to have you.
Yeah, thanks for, this is great. Thank you so much. Thank you. Fantastic. I like your shape.
Thank you.